Yeah, here we are. It's Friday afternoon, and back at the Volkswagen van. Wait a minute here. The camera flipped around. So there. Now, last week I finished the welding on it and stuff like that, and or fairly close to finished. Don't think you're ever finished welding on these things. Then I took apart all the front end stuff and renewed it. So everything in there is nice and new and shiny. I think I had part of this done last week. I finished getting the steering knuckles apart, which was interesting, to say the least. And then I took apart this side over here and got the steering knuckle apart and put new bearings in and stuff like that. Not new bearings, new upper ball joint, lower ball joint, new tie rod arm, all these rubbers, like the rubbers that are bushings, they're all new everywhere, including back there. And new shock absorbers and new bushings up in the top. So upper control arm, lower control arm, lower stabilizer arm, sway bar, this thing here, whatever it's called, tie rod, all new stuff. And there's, can you see that in here? New in there. That's a new lower ball joint. Same on the other side. Everything's renewed, so it looks pretty nice in there now. Then I'll go ahead and that's, as much as I got done this week. It's pretty tough, slow going, that stuff. Anyway, but stick around. You'll see how it went along. I had some massive failures, and I had some things that worked well. So there you go. See you. Well, I hope to see you next week. Now, this week here, what's going? I put another video out because if you look around, you'll see a video. I got this thing for the. Where is it? Snowstorm stuff. A little cab for the tractor, so they don't have to get snow blown in my face. And that I've got a video showing putting that together. Now, it's snowed this morning about 10 centimeters, and it's raining now, and it's supposed to rain overnight, and then freezing rain, and then, oh dear, we'll just see. But I had the blower out this morning just to get the snow that was accumulated already. So, that'll be it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it all. If you skip ahead to the end of it, you'll see some Buster stuff, which I know you like. Okay, bye for now. Well, here I am, start a new week. Now, I'll try to make it so I don't have so much footage this week, because last week was a bit too long, I do believe. Anyway, if you're stuck with it through the whole thing, congratulations, because you got to have a lot of go to do that. So here, I'll show you what's up. Yeah, try that again. So here's the where I've got to so far. I've got this wheel off. I had to destroy the whatever you call that cable for the speedometer in getting it off, which was too bad. And I've destroyed all the brake lines, but I've checked them on the inside behind there, and they need replacing anyhow. So the next thing is to try and get this part on the top off, which turned out wasn't too tough to do on the last one. Anyhow, we'll see how it goes on this side, because this side here is a little bit crustier than the other side. For all in all. Anyway, there, I'll update you as I go. Yeah, that came out pretty easy. That's that part gone. Down here now. Now I've got here's the big old bolt that comes out of it. So these things, they have that like D thing, the D ring thing on there. They fit on the back of that, so I'll just slide them on there and leave them for now. Yeah, there now. I've removed the, I don't know if you can see up there, not much light, but I've removed the bolt from the top of the shock absorber, and then I had this, my transmission lift pole, just with the, I let the lift down so it would hold the tension off the spring, so we'll just see what happens here. tension off the spring now. So we'll just, that's fairly free, so I can take out the shock absorber now, and then there, that's got that free, right? I'll take out the shock absorber and then the spring might come free. See what happens. Yeah, there, that thing cleans up not bad. And it's all in really nice shape, same as the other side was. I think that must be, well, treated steel, sort of zinc or galvanized or something like that. Anyhow, it's in good shape, and I'm happy with that. They changed these in the later years to a cast iron thing instead of this stamped steel thing. Don't know why, because that seems to be pretty strong and pretty good. Anyway, that's the way it is. Ah, there, it's empty now, but I did get all these things pressed out. I use a great big, what's that, 2 3/16 socket, 1/2 inch or 1 inch drive, and then there's another little socket on the top of it, this one here, that'll just go in there and push that through. Anyhow, that seemed to work. And then I also got the bushing out of this bit here, and that was a little bit of a pain, but it got it out. So now I'm set to, I've cleaned that off, and it cleaned up pretty nice, as you saw. And I'm going to clean this off, and then I'll paint those two things. And then I might start cleaning up on some of the brake stuff, because they'll take a while. I have to clean up way over there. Do you see it? There's the spring on the ground over there. Where is it? Oh, wrong button, as usual. Try that button. Yeah, there. That button works. So there's the spring on the ground over there. And I'll get that, clean that off. So I'll get those things off and paint them up. Is there anything else I need to paint while I'm in here? No, I think that's it. That and that is done. So clean them off and get them painted up, and then they'll be ready to go on tomorrow by the time they dry out. So, and then I'll, after I finish cleaning and painting, I'll do a little bit of cleaning work on the brake caliper here. See what's coming up. Yeah. So here now, I painted these up just with like a spray bomb of that rust paint there, black and red, my only favorite colors. So they're all, I'm not going to touch them for a bit. They're still tacky. And then I went into the house and just waited till some of the fumes disappeared out of here. I turned on the fan up here. So I think I can shut that off now. Now, I'll just, it's pretty well quitting time today anyhow, so that's about as much as happens here today. I've got Buster out here. I wonder what he's finally getting to the point where he's not scared of coming in here. See where he is. There he is, right there. Just wandering around with a leash, getting the leash dirty, dragging it through all the dirt, right? Anyway, there we go. That'll be Sunday today. And let's see here. Will this turn around? Yeah, it will. So there we go. Even have a hat on. So it's a little bit cool outside, but not too bad. And in the middle of middle of January already, and there still isn't any snow. So we'll see how that comes along. I'll shut it down in here for today, and maybe see you tomorrow. Yeah, here I am. I'm back at it at the Volkswagen Westfalia. Now, here, yesterday I was getting a bunch of painting done and stuff like that. I'll show you. Here's my light. I'll bring the light. Anyhow, there, that's the, I don't need the light right here, but lower control arm business. And then the upper control arm business, right? And then the spring is over here somewhere. Yeah, there. There's the spring all looking pretty good. So I have to just, I'll clean up in here a little bit, and then get this stuff remounted. I'm not going to change anything on the above bit here. Everything looks okay. That's the way it should look. I'll clean the spiders out of there. Did you see that? I wonder. Yeah, everything looks like it should up there. Anyhow, but first I'm going to take that brake line off of there before it gets all too tough to get in there, and clean up around there. And then I have to clean up that area there and the other side of it over here, which I neglected on the other. That, it looks not bad, except just a bit of cleaning on it. Then I did find out that I can get a new speedometer cable for it, yay. And a couple other things. I ordered some brake parts. Well, what do you call them? Rebuild kit for the brake calipers. I think these shoes are okay, just the rest of it in there. I'll get them apart, and that'll be coming down the tube here soon. Yeah, there I've got my homemade press set up and ready to go again in here. So I'll get the bushings pressed into all these things here, I hope. See how that goes. Yeah, there, that's set up now to press that piece in. I've got a socket there that this will just fit through, right? And then this is pushing up on the top of that. I've actually learned a couple of things since I started doing this. This side here should go easier than the other side, we hope. That's tight. And then just let that off and put the other side in. Yeah, now here, this is both sides are pressed in, and I put that little bit of a spot weld or a tack weld on there to keep these things from twisting, like the book says, and I'll put a little dab of paint on that, and that'll be that. Yeah, so now these concentric things, there's, like I got that slathered in there with white grease, so they go up with the D towards the upside, like that, and with the flat towards the back. That's how they go in. So I'll slather this with some grease and then I'll put it in there. Yeah, there we go. That's in now. So this thing here will sit about there when I get it tightened down, and that'll be good. And then I know that if this Allen key thing, see, I've got that white mark on there. I don't know, can you see that? Right on there, there's a white mark that shows that it'll be in the right position if it's looking towards me. Okay. Yeah, there. Now, what the hell? What's going on? So that upper control arm is in there. Now I should have put I will put the upper ball joint in after I get the spring in, I think. We'll work on getting the spring in. Now this time here I'll do it a little bit smarter than the other side. I do have that, like I cleaned off that stuff there, and then I put rust converter on there. So that now I'll put slather a bunch of grease all over that thing, so that, whoops, where was I pointing? Like here I was pointing with the light, right? Oh, there you go, that's a good shot. Anyhow, there, try that. I put some rust converter on there, and I'll slather a bunch of that grease on there before I put everything together. And then first I have to put the way over there, you can see that lower control arm there, I think. And I have to put the inside nut on there before I do anything else. Oh no, first I gotta put the bushing in there. So that's over here with my back to my press again. Okay. Yeah, now that's a lot easier this side than the other side. The other side I was fighting with this and fighting with it. A little bit of grease makes it go in very easily. Now I'll tighten that down tight and let it set there for a couple of minutes. Then I have to put the center pin in. I'll press this in next. That was all too easier than I thought it would be. Need a bit more grease for putting the center pin in. Whoops. There. Yeah, so there. That's the center pin going in there. And that sure was a lot easier than the other side. As long as you get everything lined up straight, it seems to go a little bit better. Then I give it a little bit of an extra squish there so that it'll be in far enough to fit in between the stays on the car there. Okay, that's it. Yeah, so now I measured this distance along this thread on the other side, and it's 1.5 centimeters using the calipers, right? Or I think it's called calipers. So I've put that nut to there, and now I'll put the bushings on and start installing it. I've got this all ready to go here. Good. Yeah, so I'll put this one together a little bit differently than the other side. I figure I'll put the shock absorber in and the spring on, and then I can hold the spring up just with a piece of wire and get the rest of the stuff in there without fighting with it too bad, I hope. We'll see what happens. Yeah, so there now I've got just a piece of wire from here down to this coil here, holding it for now, and then I'll see if I can get the control arm on there now and kind of into place. That might take a bit more wire work. See what happens. Well, now there. Oh, there's some light on it. So it's all in. I haven't got a nut on that. I don't know if you can see at the back there. Right at the back there still needs to be a nut put on that bolt going through there. But it is in and everything's together. Now that was quite a journey. I don't know how long it took me, but it took like what felt forever. What time is it now? 4:30. I think it took about 3 hours. So here's the answer to which way is easier, the way I did it on the first video. So if you look at last week's video, you see me putting in the passenger side, and that way worked quite, easily because everything was lined up right. When you get everything lined up with pressure on it, it's very difficult to get things to go into the right spot. So anyway, it's all in the right spot now. You can see everything, and I'll tighten down the bolts, and I'll put in this thing here, whatever this thing here is, that thing right there. I'll put that all together, and then we should be okay to start cleaning up the rest of the stuff. But it's 4:30 already, so by the time I get everything tightened down, it's going to be quitting time. That's amazing. Well, anyhow, but everything's together and the way it should be, so yay. Might have to do a little bit of touch-up paint on my red paint here because it's got scratched by me working on it. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, so there now. That's a day's work. It's all back together. The bolt, even to the rubber cap on top of that shock mount there. And this is all held together. Now the spring is held on tension by the bottom bolt of the shock absorber. This part here is on, whatever they call that. That's the upper ball joint. And this is all, everything's tight. Everything's tightened down. Those red things are in there and tight. This thing here is all together and tight. So, and the same on the other side. I've tightened down everything that needed to be tightened down over here too. Like the red thing down in here is in there, and those bolts up there that hold it together are tight. So it's all looking pretty good. So I'm happy with that. Hey, that's a day's work. Oh, a day and a bit of overtime because it's 5:30 already. So I better shut it down and go and see how my little dog is doing. There, another day of pulling wrenches on the Vanagon, or the Westfalia, what is it, a 82 Westfalia camper van, right? Anyway, there you go. See you tomorrow, perhaps. Yeah, here I am, back again. It's time to get after the front end of it, or the, wait a sec, I'll show you. Where is it? Down here. These things. Somehow this camera is just not pointing where I want it to point. How about that? That's better, eh? So, let's take this all apart, right? And take this all apart. I think I'll go after that first, and then I'll tackle these guys here. Yeah, so here it is. Now this turns, scraping against the back here. That'll get disappeared soon. I have a new back plate for it. Anyhow, this nut here, it was on, but it wasn't like it's, you're supposed to be able to just lock it into place by giving it a bit of a knock, and that wasn't done. There, is that looking at the right place now? I think my camera here is giving me troubles. Wait a minute. Yeah, the camera's got like a gimbal in it, and it a dusty environment out here, so they got to sort of blow it out and use dental floss around it and all sorts of stuff to clean it up. Anyway, this thing here, this nut comes off, right? So I'll get a bucket or something to put these things in, and then the bearing will just pop out of there now. It's followed by this. Oh, there's the bearing just coming out with this. This washer, which has a thing on it to follow that groove right there. So it's a groovy washer. Hey, I guess that's okay with the Volkswagen bus. Now I got these black gloves on because, you know, this is pretty yucky stuff here, so I think I better put the camera down before I get it covered with grease. Anyhow, I'll pull this apart and I'll show you what comes out of it after. Yeah, there, excuse me, there's the bearing there, and the washer thing, and the nut. And here's the back side of it. I'll clean out the spiders here eventually. And there's the front side. That's the rotor. So what I'll do, I'll get my my rig out. I wonder if that comes apart. The rotor must come off of that, hey? Or not? Is the rotor and hub all one thing? I can't tell. It might be. Might be all one thing. That's different. I don't see any seams. I'll look in the book. I'll let you know later. I don't know for sure. Anyhow, but here's this side here. There's 3 screws. 1, 2, 3. I'll see if I can get them out of there. And then start cleaning up all this stuff here. That's looking the right way, yeah. Anyway, there we go. Yeah, now, see if I can get these. There's 3 screws on here. They're all Phillips head, fairly big, and I've got my impact driver out. I put some penetrating oil on them, and now I'm seeing if I can get them to come free here with a little bit of heat. I tried it without heat, and they didn't want to move, but the one over here moved all right. So I'll see if I can get this other one, the next one here, to move. Not likely enough heat. So now there's my impact driver. Old tool the impact driver is, and you just put it in there and then pound on the top of it with a hammer. Whoops, yeah, and I'll do that and I'll come back to you. Yeah, there, that loosened up that one. Oh, see what I can wreck here. Everything. Sometimes I've been known to break the tips of the impact driver because the screw is tougher than the driver, right? Yeah, there, not much left of that. And the last screw is the toughest one to come out, that one right there. I don't know why. but they're all out. Now I'll just take, well, first, I'll take the wire brush on the drill and just clean this off a bit here. Where is it going? How come you're doing that? Oh, my camera is really giving me trouble here today. Anyway, I'll take the wire brush and clean that off a bit there, and then I'll see about getting this thing here out, which is the lower ball joint. There's a what do you call that? A C-clamp or oh dear me, a spring thing in there that has to come out. Yeah, there it is. Circlip has to come out of there. So it's out. And it came pretty easy. I just put some penetrating oil on it. Now I guess I got to fit that into one of my, what do you call those things? A press of some sort. See if I can get that pressed out of there. Okay. Yeah, so that lower ball joint, or whatever it is here, it just won't press out of there. Like I've had it up to, I've got a 12-ton jack here pushing on it, and it didn't move, didn't budge. And I checked to make sure I wasn't pushing against myself, and I wasn't, no. So I don't want to wreck it. And actually the joint itself doesn't seem to be bad. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So why would I go ahead and do it all that for nothing? So this will stay here. I'll take the new rubber off of this one and grease it up good. Put the new rubber on, and that'll be fine for that thing. Yeah, now there, that was a whole day to get that done. So anyway, the lower ball joint is going to be the one that came in it, because it just doesn't want to come out. And I'll check on the other side and see how that one feels. This one here, it feels great. Like, it looks good. There's no wear on it, so why not use it? Then everything else is coming apart, but a whole day's work to try and get that thing pressed out of there, and then give up on it. Anyway, there we go. There, it's make it a shorter week this week anyhow. Yeah, now I've been having trouble with the camera all day, so I oiled all the little hinges in it. Seems to be reacting correctly now. Who knows? We'll just carry on. Yeah, so here I am now, back here, right? On the steering knuckle that I'd pretty near given up on getting the knuckle out of there. Then I looked on the YouTube. Hey, the YouTube has got everything. And there was a fella, I don't know who it was, but I'll find the thing and I'll put a link to it on this video, I hope. And he showed how to get this apart. And he's using primitive tools, same as I have here, but he didn't even have a press. So, but he used a heavy sledgehammer and gave it a good whack. And so I figured, well, I'll give that a try. I gave it a good whack with a heavy sledgehammer, and it's moved. Like, I've got it moved 1/8 of an inch now. So I'm going to just put some more of that oil on it, and then I'll get it out the rest of the way later. Right now, because it's Tuesday here, Tuesday's a good day for moving snow around, so I gotta go do some of that. Anyway, that's good news here that I can get that apart, and I'll put the new one in. I won't feel bad about it. But it took some, don't be scared to whack it pretty hard. Mind you, like, I've got my vise is set up on a big old stump that's on the concrete, and it's affixed to the wall, and the vise is affixed to the stump, so it's all pretty solid in there. Anyway, that's good for me. I'll leave it at that for now. Yeah, there. It's out of there. Yay. Just a few judicious hits with the hammer, and away it came. Now, the new one, when it goes in, you have to see this flat side here, it goes to the back, and this little notch here comes to the front. So and I didn't even ruin the paint. I'll fix up the paint where I got a little bit of a squeeze on it there. But otherwise, I think we got it figured out pretty good there. Hey, yay, that worked out. So, that's the size of hammer I used there. I think it's like a 5-pound hammer. So, I'll see you later on. Yeah, now I don't know whether it's this stuff here, PB Blaster, or whatever I did, but anyway, it's out, right? And here I'm back at it. I'll just show you what. Now the snow out here, there wasn't that much snow, so I didn't do any filming for it. Just took a walk to the beach in the snow anyhow. But I got that cleared off and everything's all clean. Well, clean enough. And it's supposed to rain in 2 days' time anyhow, so what the hell, eh? So now what I'll do is I'll finish putting this side here together, this side here. I don't know, I've got such great English. But first I'll clean this out with a wire brush in here. Then I'll see if I can get the new thing pressed into there. I'll build, like I've got this little thing here, which kind of fits over everything, whereas I'll have to find the old one. Wonder where the old one is. Where did the old one go? Oh, there it is right here. Like this pipe here fits over and catches the edges. Can you see that? Catches the edges of that. But the edge, the pipe, this part of the pipe right here will hit up against the inside of the whole system there. So I'll cut a piece of this pipe out right like on that side there. I'll cut a piece out so that it's a half round, and that way it might fit in there better. But it might take some testing, but we'll get it figured out. Anyhow, there we go. That pipe, I had cut it off when I was trying to pull it out, but I was pushing against myself, right? So happens it'll work for putting a new one back in. Yeah, that seems to be pretty close to fitting on there. I've got a cutaway there so that it'll fit on the on the thing here. What is this called? It's called a lower ball joint. It'll fit on the lower ball joint, and it'll slide over. I'm going to clean off some of the grunge, but it'll slide over the rubber bits on the new one. But I'll clean off in there a little bit with a grinder before I put it on here so that it doesn't catch an edge and ruin that rubber before I put it on here. But it will fit across there. Anyway, so this part here, see this little loopy thing there? It goes right here. So I'm going to mark that. Whoops, don't lose the spot. I'm going to mark that with my whiteout. Yeah, there. So I've got that marked with the whiteout right there. And then the flat part here, it kind of just will go into the machine. Let me get don't have much light back there. Like about that angle right there is right. So I might have that white spot just a bit wrong. I have to unwipe it. I'll put this in where I think it should be, then I'll mark the white spot. Oh dear. Difficult to get this stuff lined up the way you want it. Yeah, so right here is where the white spot should go. Okay, I'll mark that in there now. Yeah, there now, so we'll see if it goes in now. I think that's reasonably straight. I think I got to move it over just a tiny bit. Hang on, I'll get it set up straight. Yeah, so now that's in all the way, flat down there. It had to, like I pumped it through until it came up against here, and then I was wondering why it wouldn't go any farther, and it was fighting against itself, of course. So then I had to find something to put in underneath there to allow the thing to seat properly. And these are bearings from the Volkswagen motor. They just sort of fit right into the edge. I'll show you. I'll take it apart and I'll show you. Yeah, now here, I'll just get that on there, right? Hold it with my leg. So here's one half the bearing. It fits right into that little slot there. The other half fits in right in that little slot there. And so that gave it enough support to push this through. Now I have to get that snap ring in there. So I'll just put this aside for a minute. Take apart my press assembly. Yeah, the press works pretty good when as long as you don't fight against yourself with it. Anyhow, I'll carry on. Yeah, that snap ring's on there now. Now, the snap ring that they send with the kit is too wide to go in this groove here. So you have to take your new snap ring. The old one is I'll show you here. Like the old snap ring is just, maybe I should have used, I suppose I could have used that because it's likely in good shape. And it fits. But the new one, it has to be, you have to grind off the edge here so that it'll fit in there. So I grounded off the edges and I fixed up these corners so they're a little bit better. And then it seems to fit all right. So it's okay now. Yeah, so now, how do you, like this thing here is a tapered thing, a tapered bolt, I guess, that goes in there. So how do you, come on, how do you keep that from, turning? So I've got this clamp thing and pulled it up tight so that it's on the taper on tight, and then I can use a socket and turn it on there. Yeah, I think my camera's given up on me. It keeps on not wanting to gimbal properly. Anyway, you get this one on here, and it's got this flat spot on here that you can put I have Sam gave me this. It's a little, like it's a crescent wrench with a vice grip on it. So you get it pretty close and then you can grip down on a thing like that, which works quite handily, thank you. Then, this one here, I put the clamp on and I just screwed it up, put it on with the socket once I had the clamp on and the shoulder was holding it. That's 24 millimeters, and that one here is 27 millimeters, I do believe. And I have to torque them. I'll just find out what I have to torque them to. Hang on. Oh, you know how much I like doing stuff twice. I forgot to put the brake hose bracket on there. So, this nut here has to come off. Then the brake hose bracket goes on right there, and then it goes back on. Okay. Now this thing here, 80 foot-pounds for that one, and I'm gonna say, like, I can't find a thing for this one, but I'm gonna say it's around 60 likely, just based on the size. And then that one's 20, well, 22 or something. The one in there is 110 for the across there, or what do you call that, across the shock absorber. 110 across there. Then a couple more that I found, and I'll get them all done up. Yeah, now that's back on there now. So I had to put some, like I've got my pole underneath here, and I let some pressure down on the lift so that it would hold pressure up and make that nut come up tight. So that worked to get the nut off of there, and then I had left it up like that until I got the piece on there too. So now I have to torque them down. I can let the pressure off of here, and I'll torque them down to whatever I said I was going to torque them down to. 80 on the bottom, and I think 60 on the top, maybe 70 on the top, but we'll just see. Yeah, there are the backing plates for the front brakes. they come without any paint on them or anything. So I painted them with that black Rust-Oleum stuff, and that'll be, I'm gonna let it sit dry overnight, and that'll be good. That's all for today anyhow. And these screws here that came out of here, I was able to clean them up, and they fit in, they go in there nice, pardon me, nicely now. So that's good. I'll use them. And I'll put a little bit of Loctite on those guys when I put it all together again. So what I'll do is I'll get the back plate on, then I'll go and get to the same spot on the other side. This is torqued down to like 22 foot-pounds. Don't know how many nanometers. This one's torqued down to like 60 foot-pounds. And that one down here is torqued into like 80 foot-pounds. So that's all put together. And it looks decent. I even have the brake thing on there. So that's good. Okay, now next on my list is going to have some supper, cook some supper. See what I come up with. Yeah, there you go. I just took a photo of myself. Anyhow, back at it here. A little bit of a late start at 3 o'clock already today. And I usually start by about 11 or noon o'clock. Anyhow, but here I'll show you. Those brake behinds, whatever you call them, the dust guards for behind the brakes, they look pretty good. So now, I think the next step is to get the other side to this point, and I've ordered new, whatever you call those things. Oh dear me, new bearings and brake repair kits. So I'll get the other side looking about like what this side looks like, which is just right now it's close to there, but I just have to change all the doings on the steering knuckle, which took me about a day and a half for the other one, for this one here, but it'd likely take a little bit less time for the second one. We'll see how it works out. And then I also, at the same time, look that way. Yeah, there you go. This thing here showed up today, and that's a cab, one of those fabric cabs for my tractor. So I'll likely interrupt this build here to put that together, but I'll just get this taken apart today, cleaned up a bit, and paint the knuckle, I hope, and then go from there, see what happens. So here we go. Yeah, so it's been fighting me all the way. First off, I got 2 of the screws out that hold the back plate on, right? And the third one I had to use a little bit of violence on and had to drill it out, and then I had to retap it. So that one right there is done. So those are okay. Now, this came off, a couple of whacks with the hammer, and that's the tie rod end, right? So here's the old tie rod end. I think that's actually in pretty good shape. I think it's not that used for being 20 years old or so. And then this top ball joint, upper ball joint came off. So now, following the same thing as last time, there's a snap ring here, this little snap ring right there that I'll pull off of there. And then I'll put some heat to it and give it a good few judicious whacks with a hammer and see what happens. Yeah, that was a lot of work. I'm puffing and huffing now. But what I did was I had the big press out, that guy. Sort of rigged it up, but it wouldn't push anywhere. Then that one there, you can sort of rig it up so that it's pushing straight from end to end, from this end to this end. But I don't like doing that too much because it bows in the middle. And but I did be able to, I put some pressure on it there, put some heat on it there, and then whacked it a couple of times while it was under pressure. And so then brought it over here and just started getting serious with the persuader, and I persuaded it to leave roost there. But it took some pretty good whacking to get that out of there. And once it's in, there's no worries about it coming out. Anyway, here, I'll clean this up now, then I'll paint it up and put it back together tomorrow. Yay. Yeah, there we go. That's cleaned up and put a coat of paint on it. So, now tomorrow I'll put it back together and make that side over there look like this side over here. There you go. That's all for today. See you tomorrow, perhaps. Yeah, here I am back again, Friday. Now, I missed yesterday. I spent the day working on the tractor. I'll just show you here. Wait a minute. So, the winter time, it gets kind of, well, the wind, when you're blowing snow, it blows it back in your face. So I put one of those plastic cabs on there. Well, and then I actually got to try it out this morning. I didn't film any of it, but it seems to work all right. It keeps the snow from blowing back in your face anyhow. There you go. That was yesterday. Now today I'm back on here, and I'll hopefully finish up getting these front end bits together today. This side here is done, and that side is ready to press the, what do you call that? Press the lower ball joint in there, right? And I think I've already got the upper ball joint mounted over here. Yeah, so there, the upper ball joint's ready to go. Better pull that plastic thing off of there so it doesn't get in my way later. Things like that usually do get in my way. There. And then that's all set, and then the tie rod is all set to go in there. So if I get the lower ball joint in, I just will put that thing into place, and I also have the backing plate for the brakes ready. Now I'll have to get new bolts for that, which I've got. They're hex head bolts instead of the Phillips head ones, which is fine. Had a bit of a disaster with the paint can. One of them was like, you know how sometimes when the paint cans, they get dried up in the inside, right? Where is it? Here it is. So the little thing there gets dried up. So I figured, well, I'll clean it out, and I took the drill to clean it out, and I just cleaned a little bit too much, and it started spraying everywhere. So I was able to spray these with it the way it was, and they'll be all right. But there's a heavy coat of paint on that. That's what you call a wet coat. Now I've got another spray can there that's got a broken top on it, so I won't do the same thing. I don't know what I'll do about that. Maybe I'll see if I can. Who knows what I'll do? I'll just maybe ignore it, hey? Because it'll just make a mess. Anyway, so here I'll get this stuff put together, I hope, and then we'll see where we go from there. Yeah, so I built this device here to fit over the lower ball joint and be able to press on the top of it here, so it'll go in the press up here. Then in between down below here I have to have like a flat bar, and then a couple of I'll see. Oh, I got to put the piece in there. I'll show you though, but I need to put these two things there in when I get going. I'll just run it through a little bit to start, back it off, and then put these two things in there to allow this to fall through. I'll show you when I get there. Yeah, there. Now, I'll just more than show you, I'll just do it. So there's the steering knuckle, right? Did you see that? There's the steering knuckle. This sits in like this, more or less. I'll just have to get that sort of started there. interesting? Yeah, that was exciting. So I'll get it set up again and see what I can do. Yeah, there I finally held my breath right and it went in there. That was just a matter of getting it lined up and everything works. Then it all goes all right. So I'll pull it apart now. I think I've got it all seated correctly. Be careful with this stuff. There's so much tension on it. Liable to fly loose and break your arm. Yeah, there it's all the way. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see it's all the way in, all the way around, and I'll be able to get that circlip on there. Okay. Yeah, there the circlip is on. Now, likely it would have been better off if I had to put the circlip with the clippy things over on this side. There's more room for them. They just barely fit into that little gap there. And now I can't get it off, so that's where they'll stay. Yeah, so there now. After I got that circlip off of there, which I figured I better do because it wasn't just satisfying the way it was. And, excuse me. Then I took it and I grounded off the edges a little bit more because it has to fit into this tight little hole right in here. And so it can't be much bigger than that to get in there. And then once you get it in, if you move it back and forth, which I can do with the hammer, I can give it a little, yeah, see that? I can move it back and forth. And so that means that it's in okay. And I'm a happy guy with it. Yeah. So, anyhow, circlip, ends of it goes same place as this little divot is on the upper part. And that's in there solid now and with the circlip, so it won't come out ever. And I'll carry on putting it together. Yeah, so here I have a locking crescent wrench stuck on the top end of this thing here. Focusing failed, I bet you it did. How about now? Can you see it now? A locking like crescent wrench here. And then I have it's a P37 or 1 1/16 inch wrench on the below side. Another one of John's Gists. He had all sorts of heavy duty stuff like this. So and then you just pull this up and it'll tighten up eventually into the like it's a cone type thing in there. It'll tighten up into it, and then I'll put some torque to it. Yeah, there now it's tight enough that I can get the torque wrench on it, and it's got to go to 80, I think. So here's 75, just past 75. This thing here goes to 100. So it's at 50 now. And that's a 27 millimeter thing on there. I've got another bigger torque wrench that'll go to 300, but this one here is fine for 80. That's about 80, pretty close to 80. I'll give it one more twist. Just about tougher than I am, this thing. Yeah, that's 80 there. That's good. So that's torqued on. Now to get the top part onto it. And that's a 24 millimeter nut on there. But I'll get that set up and get it in there. Hang on. There now. Now I've got to put some pressure on here. So I've got my transmission jack. And I'm just going to let the car down a little bit to push to compress the spring a bit and push that up into place. Whoops. Yeah. Right around there. I took it right off the stand here. So hopefully that's good enough now to hold that whilst I tighten it. I'll just see. Oh, no, it's got to come down a bit more. Yeah, because it doesn't matter how much pressure you take off of it there. It's got to have pressure up above, so I got to get a clamp on the top there. Hang on. Yeah, now I've got this set of locking pliers on here, holding it to get it started, but that won't go far because I'm running into the pliers with the nut now. We'll just see. Hang on. Sorry about that. I'm running into the pliers. Something going on here with my camera, as usual. Yeah, it's not a happy camera. Anyhow, we'll see if I can get it to tighten up. It's holding right now, but I'm coming up against the pliers there now, so I'll have to get a different grip on it with something. Hang on. Yeah, so there it's mostly being held all right now, and I've got it most of the way up there. I'll just see if I can get it the rest of the way. Now, if I let it go, hopefully it'll hold, and I'll be able to sort out that. Was I pointing the right way, I wonder? The brake thing, I guess that's, yeah, I'll get it straightened up after the fact, but looks like that's up into place now. I'll just see if it tightens up. It's still turning in there. I gotta get the pliers on it again. Hang on. Hold on. Yeah, there now. I'll torque this one to 60, I think is what I did the other side at. Yeah, and that'd be that black mark on the bottom there. Okay, I'll see what I can come up with. Yeah, there now. That's the tie rod's on there too, and it gets torqued up to 22 foot-pounds. I think that thing there is supposed to be 22 foot-pounds also. But I think everything's tight. I got to tighten this a little bit more. It's not quite as tight as the other side. Whether the other side's right or wrong, who knows? But I'll put a socket on that and give it a bit more tightening. Maybe I'll check and see what it's supposed to be torqued to. Yeah, so there now, that one in there, which holds across the top here, I torqued it down to 54 foot-pounds like the book says. This one here is 22 foot-pounds. That one's 80. That one there I couldn't find in the book, so I just made it about 65 or 70. And that's good. And otherwise, I think that's everything done in there. These ones at the back here, that hold the back of that on, they have to be torqued yet. I'll have to look in the book and find out. Now I'll lift it off of here, which before I forget, to make it more of a safe thing. Still recording? Yeah, that was catching this thing. So I'll put it back. My what do I call it? I call it the transmission jack. That's because I used it. I built it to hold the transmission on the TR7 when I was changing the motor mounts on that. Now I just let this down onto a click. There we go. So that's everything there. Now I got to put this back plate on it. I'll make some new bolts for that. I have the right size bolts, but they're long, so I'll just cut them to the right length and then put them on. That thing here, just waiting for it, right? Where's this going? No. Like this. Something like that right there. Okay, well, I'll figure that out in a minute or two. Yeah, that's 3 new bolts here for that. The other side, the original ones are still in there. This is new. New tie rods, new upper, new lower, new, everything in there. Then I tightened up those bolts at the end of this. They have to go up to 65 foot-pounds, which I did. This side here, I think that the bushing isn't quite seated properly in there, so I'll run the car for a while and then I'll retighten that one. The other side, it's seated just fine. Everything's good. Now, that's about as far as I'll get for this week. Let me see. Hang on. Yeah, here I am. So anyhow, Friday it is, and that's the end of the week for this week. I've got, let me see how to do this. I just got to sort myself out here. Got this all put back together, all apart and together again for the front end. All new stuff in there. Yay. That should be good. Same on this side. So both sides of the front end are together. Now, I'm waiting for bearings to show up and brake stuff to show up so I can finish that part of it up also. And the hubs, I got to clean up the hubs. These hubs, that's the way they, like the hub and the brake rotor is one piece. So I'll clean up the whole thing and make it look good again. And that will be much better than what it looks like right now, a rusty mess. But these are, I don't think these were very much used at all. I don't feel any ridges on them. And the brake shoes were pretty near new. So I think that was like 20 years ago. I think that was new, and it certainly wouldn't go bad. But I'll put in new bearings because I don't know whether they just swap the bearings or replace the bearings. So new ones, they're not expensive. So what the hell, eh? This stuff here, like this was rusted off of it, so, and fortunately there's new ones available. And so, anyhow, that's all for this week, and hope you enjoyed it all. We'll get back at it again next week and likely start working on the back, the trailing arms. That'll be interesting. Yeah, here we are. Got a bit of snow coming down today. A little bit grim looking out there. It's supposed to be clearing off this afternoon, but for now I'll just take a walk to the beach and I'll get me and my pal here, right? And I'll get the tractor out after a while and see how much there is. Not very much yet. Yeah, this stuff here is always really pretty after a fresh snow, with all the snow on everything. Not too tough to take. Now Buster here, making lots of noise. How come? Why is all that noise about, eh? You'd sooner be carried? Yeah, likely. Not gonna happen in this world. Looks like about 4, like maybe 5 or 6 centimeters, maybe 3 or 4 inches. Give or take a bit. All depends whether it's settled or not, or if it's sheltered by the trees. Now he says, I want to go over here. Gotta jump up on the bench, take a look around. Now he's just learned how to jump up on the bench here the last couple of days, so that's something really good fun, eh? So now, on to the task at hand, which is heading down to the beach. Anyway, I'll catch up along the way. Yeah, now there's Buster now, just about at the beach here. Snow on everything. This is a real first real snow, well, of 2023, right? And it's covering the frog pond, so much for clean ice for skating, but it's supposed to rain here in a few days again, so that'll change things again. Yeah, Buster's not quite figured out what's going on with the beach here. What happened to all the nice sand? Yeah, something went wrong. That's better now, eh? Anyway, there we are. Buster and me, Buster and I. And I'll head back up and maybe get the tractor going. Yeah, there we go. That's yeah, nothing like it. Yeah, the weather's on in behind us here.